Welcome to English Through Ideas, where we learn English through powerful ideas. Have you ever actually stopped to think about how much of your day is spent in negotiating? Maybe you're asking for a raise, buying a car, or honestly, just trying to get your kids to go to bed. Most of us think negotiation is this rare, formal event. But according to former FBI hostage negotiator Chris Voss, everyday communication is actually a high-stakes negotiation. And the crazy part? The way we've been taught to handle it is completely wrong. So today, we're exploring his incredible book, Never Split the Difference, to learn how to communicate better and grow personally.
In today's explainer, we'll quickly walk through 5 key strategies from Chris Voss's time in the FBI. Number 1, emotion over logic. Number 2, the magic of mirroring. Number 3, labeling hidden feelings. Number 4, the power of no. And finally, number 5, getting to that's right. Let's get started.
Okay, let's dive into this. Section 1, emotion over logic, the paradigm shift.
Now, when we think of business or negotiation, we usually picture numbers, logic, and math, right? We kind of assume that if we just present the right facts, well, the other person will automatically agree with us. For decades, this traditional Harvard idea of deal-making was based entirely on cold, rational problem-solving. But the FBI discovered something very different during life-or-death hostage situations. Think about it. You literally cannot use logic to calm down a bank robber. If you just hand them a list of logical reasons to surrender, it completely fails. Instead, the FBI's approach focuses on street-smart psychology and human emotion. It's all about connection first, before any problem-solving even begins. Because at the end of the day, humans aren't robots. We are highly emotional creatures.
And this brings us to a really cool concept called tactical empathy. Basically, tactical empathy is the act of truly understanding someone's feelings and their mindset to build deep trust. Now, to be clear, this isn't just about being a nice person or giving people hugs. No, it's a strategic tool. When you use tactical empathy, you're making the other person feel heard and completely safe. And it's only when people feel truly safe that they drop their defenses and become willing to actually listen to you.
Section 2, the magic of mirroring, the Jedi mind trick. So how do we actually create that safety? Well, mirroring is simply mimicking speech to build rapport. In the FBI, this specifically means repeating the last 1 to 3 critical words that someone just said. And this brilliantly illustrates how you don't need a complex argument. You don't need to be super smart or have all the facts. You literally just need to echo what they said right back to them.
Here are the 3 simple steps to pull this off. First, you have to use what Chris Voss calls the late-night FM DJ voice. This means you physically slow down, lower your pitch, and keep your voice deep and calm to project absolute confidence and ease. Second, you just pause. Let there be a moment of silence. And third, you repeat their last 1 to 3 words back to them as a question.
Let me give you a great, totally relatable story from the book. There was this employee who had a difficult, kind of old-school boss who always demanded physical paper copies instead of digital files. One day, the boss walks in, clearly super stressed, and says, "Let's print 2 sets of everything." Now, instead of arguing, the employee simply used a calm, deep voice and mirrored him. 2 sets? There was a heavy pause in the room. The boss looked a bit confused, thought about it for a second, and just started explaining himself. And in doing so, he actually realized his own idea was a huge waste of time. So without the employee making a single argument, the boss ended up canceling his own demand and just said, "Actually, digital copies are fine." That is the magic of mirroring.
Let's move to and see how this builds into our next tool. Section 3, labeling hidden feelings, taming the brain.
So mirroring gets people talking, right? But labeling helps you acknowledge the hidden fears and emotions that are actively blocking your communication. Labeling is validating someone's emotions by simply putting their feelings into spoken words. You see, when someone is angry or afraid, ignoring it does not make it go away. It actually makes it worse. Science shows that when you name a fear or a negative emotion out loud, the brain actually shifts out of panic mode and moves right back into logic mode.
To do this correctly, you should always start your sentences with phrases like, "It seems like," "it sounds like," or "it looks like." For example, "It seems like you're frustrated with this project." Now notice what's missing there. The word I. Never say, "I think you're frustrated," because using I makes it about you. Saying "it seems like" keeps the focus entirely on them and makes them feel truly understood.
Now, you can take labeling even further with an accusation audit. An accusation audit is where you list all the terrible things someone could say about you right before they can say them. Imagine you have to give someone bad news. If you start by saying, "You're going to think I'm a terrible person and that I didn't try hard enough," you immediately take the sting away.
It sounds crazy, I know, but calling out the negative stuff first builds immediate, powerful trust. Why? Because you're showing them that you completely understand their point of view, even the ugly parts.
Section 4. The power of no. Why we fear it. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how we are always taught that getting someone to say yes is a good thing. But is it really? It is fascinating how society has completely conditioned us to fear rejection. We think hearing no means we failed, and because of this, we constantly push people to say yes. But forcing a yes often just creates a fake agreement. Let's be honest, people will say yes just to make you stop talking and go away.
Think about those annoying telemarketers who call you on the phone. They ask in this overly enthusiastic voice, "Do you love clean drinking water?" And you're trapped. You have to say yes, but it feels terrible. You feel totally manipulated. As Chris Voss says, no is the start of the negotiation. Letting someone say no actually makes them feel incredibly safe and respected.
Giving people the right to veto an idea is incredibly powerful. First, it exposes the real stakes. Second, it builds massive trust and safety. And most importantly, it gives the other person control. When people feel they have the power to say no, their defensive barriers just drop. Suddenly their ears open, and they're actually willing to listen to your ideas.
Section 5. Getting to that's right, the ultimate goal.
Imagine you're arguing with someone, and they finally just sigh and say, "You're right." That feels like a win, doesn't it? Well, actually, it's a trap. "You're right" is often just a polite brush-off. It basically means, "Please stop talking, I want this conversation to end." But if you can get them to say, "That's right," wow, that is the magic moment. That's right means they feel a deep human connection. It means they feel truly, completely understood by you.
Chris Voss tells this brief story about his son Brandon, who played American football. Brandon had a bad habit on the field of just smashing into the other players instead of running around them. Chris tried everything to fix it. He pointed out the math, he explained the strategy, but Brandon was stubborn. No matter how much logic his dad used, Brandon wouldn't change. Finally, Chris used his FBI skills. He labeled his son's hidden fear. He said, "You think dodging a block makes you weak. You think it means you're running away from a fight." Brandon paused, looked at his dad, and said, "That's right." And because he finally felt understood, he immediately changed his bad habits on the field.
So the crucial point is how you bring all these tools together. You listen carefully, you mirror their words to keep them talking, you label their hidden fears, and then you summarize their world and their feelings so perfectly that the only thing they can possibly say back to you is, "That's right." And once you hit that moment, the entire relationship changes for the better.
The ideas we've explored from this source material are honestly quite profound. Remember, these aren't cheap tricks to manipulate people. They are tools for self-improvement and tools for respecting others. As Voss says, negotiation isn't just about winning, it's about connection. It's about making the people in your life feel heard, valued, and understood.
I want to leave you with this final thought. How will you use empathy in your next difficult conversation? Will you stop forcing your logic and try listening instead? Thank you for learning with English through ideas. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe for more ideas, more English, and more growth.